Gather around, folks, for a tale of horror, the corporate kind. This story is not about ghosts or ghouls, but about a company with a past so dark it could send shivers down your spine. It's about Volkswagen, the company that puts the Volks in zombie, at least potentially. A brand that has risen from the ashes of its own haunted history like a phoenix with a few too many skeletons in its closet. Now, we all love a good redemption arc, and Volkswagen has a history that would make even the most forgiving angel reach for the holy water. From its inception to its modern-day reinvention, the journey of Volkswagen is nothing short of a rollercoaster ride through a haunted amusement park. You see, this ain't no ordinary car company. This is a company with a past so intertwined with the dark chapters of history, it's like a ghost story that refuses to fade away. This is a company that got its start thanks to a little help from a certain mustachioed dictator Adolf Hitler himself. Yes, the very same man whose name is synonymous with terror and tyranny. That's right, the people's car, as Hitler called it, was meant to be an affordable vehicle for all those good Aryan folk, a symbol of Nazi propaganda. It was supposed to be the car that would drive the Third Reich into a new era. Of course, we all know how that turned out. The grand plans of the Third Reich crumbled into dust, leaving behind a trail of destruction and a legacy of horror. Hitler's vision for a Volkswagen-filled world went about as well as his plans for world domination. The war ended, but the scars it left behind were deep and lasting. Fast forward 80 years or so, and Volkswagen is still grappling with the ghosts of its past. The company has tried to reinvent itself, but the shadows of its origins loom large. It's like that creepy painting in the attic, the one with the eyes that follow you. No matter how much you try to ignore it, it's always there, watching, reminding you of what once was. You try to ignore it, but it just keeps staring back at you. The past is a persistent ghost, one that refuses to be exorcised. Volkswagen might want to forget its Nazi-funded beginnings, but the past ain't so easily forgotten. The echoes of history are loud and clear, reverberating through the corridors of time. The company might have traded in its swastikas for a shiny new logo, but the stench of its past still lingers like a bad fart in a confessional. It's a reminder that some stains are too deep to wash away completely. Buckle up, folks, because it's going to be a bumpy ride through the haunted history of Volkswagen. A journey through time where the past and present collide in a tale of redemption, reinvention, and the relentless pursuit of a future unshackled from the chains of history. After the war, Volkswagen found itself facing a reckoning, much like that awkward moment when you run into someone you ghosted at the grocery store. The company was in shambles, its factories were in ruins, and its reputation was tarnished. The future looked bleak, and the road to recovery seemed almost impossible. The company had a choice to make: own up to its past or try to sweep it under the rug. The executives gathered in dimly lit rooms, debating the best course of action. Should they confront their history head-on, or should they attempt to bury it deep, hoping no one would notice? Unsurprisingly, they went with option 2, which in hindsight wasn't the best move. The decision to hide their past was like putting a band-aid on a bullet wound. It might cover the problem temporarily, but it wouldn't heal it. They did manage to rebrand themselves, becoming known for reliable, if somewhat boring, cars. The iconic Beetle became a symbol of post-war recovery, a small but significant step towards rebuilding their image. Ironically, the Beetle and the VW bus would later become symbols of love and peace during the Summer of Love, embraced by hippies and US baby boomers. Think of it like the awkward dad at a party, trying too hard to fit in with the cool kids. Volkswagen was that dad, trying to shake off its uncool past and blend in with the new hip crowd of automakers. For nearly 50 years after the Summer of Love, Volkswagen slogged along, even performing well during that period. But just as Volkswagen started to shake off its past, it got hit with another scandal. The company was finally gaining momentum, but then came the storm that would shake its foundation once again. Remember Dieselgate? Yeah, that wasn't a good look. The scandal erupted like a volcano, spewing out damaging revelations that threatened to undo all the progress Volkswagen had made. Turns out, Volkswagen wasn't quite as environmentally friendly as they wanted everyone to believe. The company had been cheating on emissions tests, making their cars appear greener than they actually were. They were caught red-handed, or should I say, soot-handed, cheating on emissions tests. Inspectors discovered the fraud, and the news spread like wildfire. tarnishing Volkswagen's reputation once again. It was like finding out your vegan friend secretly scarfs down cheeseburgers when no one's looking. The betrayal felt personal, and the public's trust in Volkswagen plummeted. The fallout from Dieselgate was about as subtle as a sledgehammer to the face. The company faced massive fines, lawsuits, and a public relations nightmare that seemed never ending. Fines, lawsuits, and a whole lot of bad press came knocking on Volkswagen's door like trick-or-treaters, hopped up on sugar. The legal battles were fierce, and the media coverage was relentless, painting Volkswagen as the villain in a modern-day morality play. Volkswagen might have thought they could outrun their past, but the truth, like a bad case of gas, always comes out in the end. The company had to face the music, and the journey to redemption was far from over. The road ahead was long and winding, but Volkswagen had no choice but to keep moving forward, hoping to rebuild trust one step at a time. So, where does this leave Volkswagen today? The once revered automotive titan, known for its engineering prowess and iconic models, is now facing a crisis of epic proportions. Picture this. It's a dark and stormy night, the kind of night that sends shivers down your spine and makes you question every decision you've ever made. The wind is howling, the rain is coming down sideways, and through the gloom, you see a lone Volkswagen, sputtering and struggling to stay on the road. It's a haunting image, one that mirrors the company's current struggles. Yeah, that pretty much sums up their current situation. Once a symbol of reliability and innovation, Volkswagen now finds itself in a precarious position. The once mighty car giant is now looking more like a used car salesman with a bad toupee. Their reputation has taken a hit, and it's not just about the cars anymore. Sales are down, profits are shrinking faster than a vampire in a garlic factory, and the competition is leaving them in the dust. The numbers don't lie, and the trend is alarming. It's enough to make you wonder if Volkswagen's engine is about to stall out for good. The challenges they face are not just mechanical, but deeply rooted in their corporate strategy. To put it bluntly, they're in a financial graveyard, surrounded by the tombstones of their past mistakes. The road ahead is fraught with uncertainty, and only time will tell if they can navigate through this storm. Now let's talk numbers, because that's where things get really spooky. Take a gander at their employee count. A whopping 684,025 people. That's like the entire population of a small country, all working for one car company. Now compare that to their Q3 2024 operating profits of $3.1 billion. Extrapolating to a full year, that's about $12.4 billion. Divide those profits by the number of employees and you get a terrifyingly low number. That, my friends, is what we call revenue per employee. It's the financial equivalent of finding a single candy corn at the bottom of your trick-or-treat bag. Volkswagen is essentially a giant haunted house with way too many ghosts and not enough candy to go around. As the world shifts towards electric vehicles, Volkswagen Group finds itself in a Sisyphus-like struggle. Despite their plans to invest in XPeng and other EV makers, the question remains, where will they get the cash? Volkswagen Group, including Audi, has failed to create compelling EVs that can compete with the likes of Tesla and Chinese automakers. The rise of these new players is finally ridding the earth of the last vestiges of Hitler's legacy. It's a new era, one where the electric hum of progress drowns out the ghosts of the past. But can Volkswagen adapt quickly enough to stay in the race, or will they be left in the dust by these electrifying newcomers? Only time will tell. For now, the road ahead for Volkswagen is shrouded in uncertainty, and their journey to an electric future is anything but smooth. Stay tuned to see how this automotive giant navigates the twists and turns of the EV revolution.